Hi there. Jennifer Elizabeth Masters here. I am going to just, we are not so far away. So today we're talking about depression. It is a subject that I am well acquainted with. I suffered from depression for well over 20 years. Okay, so while we are just kind of sitting here chilling, what I'd like to do though is to make this sort of an interactive thing. So what I'd like you to do is just sit up straight and uncross your arms and legs and put your palms facing upwards in your lap. And why is that? Because if you're sitting with your arms crossed or your ankles crossed or your legs crossed, what happens is whatever I'm giving you as an energy thing is going to be, it will be impeded by any kind of crossing that you do. So you'd be blocking the energy coming from me. And there is some coming from my voice, just coming from my energy field, and my high self is so finely attuned to doing energy healings and working on people that the minute that someone asks for my assistance, sends me an email, these are clients of mine, as soon as they send me an email, my high self goes and starts working on them. It's just this automatic thing. It's happened. And so what I would like you to do is just let go of any resistance, because this is kind of an energy exchange thing. So, and the other thing I'd like you to do is just take a deep breath. And breathing, although it's very simplistic and simple, can really change the way you feel. So take a deep breath. And as you do, let go of your shoulders. Drop your shoulders just a little bit. Relax your shoulders. Sitting upright, but relax your shoulders so that they're not up here around your ears. You're going to notice that, oh, wow, I'm carrying stress in my shoulders. So just dropping your shoulders, relaxing in again. And as we take the next deep breath, you're going to breathe in from your belly, even maybe putting your hands on the belly and noticing how, as you do, that your belly rises. Now, if your belly doesn't rise when you're breathing from the diaphragm. And diaphragmatic breathing isn't healthy, because it's too short. It doesn't allow the lungs to really expand completely. The diaphragm is actually meant to lift upwards to help you to expel air, as opposed to, as you inhale, letting down. That's not the way it works. It lifts up to expel air. So you want to do belly breathing. And when we breathe from the belly, then the lungs and the chest expand. So why am I spending so much time when I'm talking about depression, talking about breath? Well, because we are something like 60% water, and then what else do we need to run the show, to run this beautiful body? We need oxygen. If you're not getting enough oxygen in your bloodstream, then you're not going to get enough nutrition. Your lungs aren't fed, your organs aren't time, your body's not functioning in its. We're just breathing together here, everyone, while you're joining us. I'm just taking a few moments to just connect here with everyone and just relax and breathe. So one more deep breath, letting go of those shoulders once again, dropping them down a little bit more. Okay. So I have a depression quiz on my website. When you go to jenniferelizabethmasters.com, up on the left-hand side, up here, there is a little thing called a business card. And on that business card, there are links. There's a link to getting assistance with depression. There's a link to my self-love quiz. There's a link to wealth manifestation. So all of these things are all interconnected. And these are all things that I help you with. Okay, so, hi Jen. All right, so what are the symptoms of depression? Because we hear about depression all the time. Are people kind of conflagrating? Are they making it up? Or is everybody really this depressed? And I would say the answer is a little of both, but depression is rampant today in our society. And depression will mean that you know, when you wake up in the morning, you may feel like, geez, you know, it's another day. Oh, you know, how am I going to get through this? If you're waking up that way, you might be depressed. If you lack motivation, or if you're always tired, or if you're feeling the sense of helplessness and hopelessness, that is a really big one. If you're having a hard time enjoying life, if you're not enjoying sex, if you're not enjoying eating, if you're not, or you're overeating, if you're not enjoying your friends and family, if you're not enjoying the things that normally would bring you pleasure, that's a really big telltale sign. It's a really big telltale sign. Okay, so just a little bit about me. I was depressed for more than half of my life, and you know, when I mentioned it to my mother, she said, oh, you know, nonsense, you're not depressed. Well, I'd always been, from the time that I had trauma. And so I'm just going to spend a little bit of time here because I think it's helpful to know, well, why are people so depressed today? And I've got lots of answers for you, and they're coming out in my new book. And I haven't launched it yet. It's coming out very soon. But this book is a healing book. It will help to heal you. It will heal you. There's audio tracks at the end, and they will heal you. Okay, so why are so many people depressed? Can you take a guess? What is this about? What could be possibly going on? Well, a lot of it is if you've ever been raped, if you've ever been sexually assaulted, if you've ever been molested, if you had parents that didn't validate you, or they didn't give you the love that you wish that you could get from them, if they told you things that were lies, if anyone lies to you. You get my drift? You see why so many people are depressed today. So the underlying cause of depression, doctors will say they have no idea what it is. But when you get rid of the reason, which is what I did, when you get rid of the reason that you're depressed, the depression just, it falls away mysteriously. Isn't that interesting? And I'm talking about without a pill. And now I will say, you know, there may be some people with some really serious issues out there. I'm not telling you to go off your medication. I'm not telling you to do that. But what I am saying is start to notice, where's anger coming from? Where are you feeling angry? Are you feeling that, you know, maybe that's not me gulping, by the way. If you're feeling like there's anger coming up, if you're yelling at your spouse, you're yelling at your kids, and it seems like for no reason you're overreacting or just being really bigly triggered. So I want you to think back to all of the things that happened in your life where you felt you had no control. So just sit with that for just a moment. I don't want to brush this off. This is huge. So when we feel like we have no control over our body, and there are those out there that feel like we shouldn't have any control over our bodies. From the time we're children, there was a law on the books that was eradicated recently. I don't know if you're aware of it, that took away a child's rights to being sexually violated. Now, why would people do such a thing? It's a really good question. To make sexual molestation legal? And so, let's talk about this just for a little bit more. So let's just talk about either any kind of sexual aggression. When someone is bigger than us, when someone is loved and trusted by us, and they take away or they do something to us that we can't ward off, we can't stop, we can't prevent, we're feeling helpless, right? We feel helpless, and we might also feel hopeless, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm here in this household. I am part of this family. What am I going to do? You could be 5 years old, 6 years old, you could be 12 years old. But in any event, when something happens where someone overpowers you, whether it's a brother, a babysitter, or it doesn't matter who it is, overpowers you and makes sexual advances to you, it's going to cause depression. And this is what the world is not speaking about. It's a big thing. And when you look around, when you talk to people, when you really have the deep conversations with your friends, with your girlfriends, with your boyfriends, how many people have been molested? The numbers are mind-blowing. I know. It doesn't make me happy to share this information. It doesn't, lift me, and I'm sure you're not feeling lifted. But what I want to say is, when you know what the source is, and then you can start to lift and uncover it, and this is what I do in my work. I help people. I take away all the stuff that isn't you. I clear all that, the muck and debris and the shame and the guilt, and I help you get rid of that anger. And so when all of that is lifted, and it's just like this, wow, this bright shining you comes out, because this is who you really are. You're not ashamed, guilt-ridden person. That's not who you truly are. These things have, they've just been sort of dumped on you. So, all right. So, what can I do to help you today to lift some of the way you're feeling? I have some products, before my book comes out, I have some products on my website for anxiety and depression. And I'll tell you a secret. The products on my website, when you go to anxiety and depression, are the last 4 tracks of the book. That's a secret. So I'm telling you this because, some people, I know of a man who was in therapy for over 20 years. And so what started to happen, because he wasn't getting to the root of the issue. And so therapy keeps you sort of stuck telling the story, but doesn't really, move you forward. It has been my experience. Now, there may be some forms that are wonderful, but I found it did not help me with what I was going through. So what I do is, in these last 4 tracks of the book, and when you go to the link in the business card for anxiety and depression, you'll get relief. Now, you may want to listen with headphones on a few times, but I got a call from somebody that was suicidal just the other night, and I said, here, listen to this. And she woke up the next morning. I said, so how are you? She said, I'm no longer suicidal. As a matter of fact, I'm laughing and joking. So it works. It really does work. Now, you may want to know, so what is it? What's the magic that I do? Well, I can't share everything. It's taken me a lifetime to get to where I'm at. to learn the things that I've learned, to go inside and heal myself enough to be able to help other people. And, you know, there was a long time ago where, you know, my little inner child, you know, screams and was screaming for attention and validation because I wasn't getting it. So if you're not being validated, that could be a source of anger. If, you know, if your family of origin, you know, doesn't believe you, if you've gone to people and said, this happened to me, and they said, you know, big deal, or get over it, or anything like that, you're being invalidated. When you're invalidated, it makes you angry. And you have every right to be angry. But the point is that depression is caused, and I want you to hear me, depression is caused by anger that we feel we don't have a right to have. And that's Louise Hay. Now, Louise, bless her and her work, she helped to change my life. She was one of the people that I went to when I started on my healing journey. And I've read thousands of books. I have studied with all kinds of teachers. I have been around the world and studied and done work and tried this and tried that to find out what exactly works. And so I've come up with this formula that really works. And as far as anxiety is concerned, so depression is about anger we feel we don't have a right to have. And Lao Tzu said, depression is caused by focusing on the past. Well, that makes sense, right? Because you're focusing on the past, feeling angry about what happened. And anxiety is caused by focusing on what's going to happen tomorrow. Where am I going to be in 5 years? Will I ever find someone that loves me? Will I be able to pay my bills this week? Can I pay my rent next month? Will I be able to get my car fixed when it goes bad? Or will I be able to buy new tires when I need them? So all of that is focusing on tomorrow, the future. And so when we focus on the not now, it causes anxiety. And so the breathing that we did at the beginning of this is for you to be in your body and in the present. So deep breathing will help you to be in the present. And if you go to my YouTube videos, I've got meditations there, and I'm going to be sharing more meditations as I'm going through this Kundalini Yoga teacher training. I am learning tremendous new techniques and meditations that will help also. So, anxiety. Present. Being present in the now. Instead of you're doing the dishes and you've got the TV on and your attention is elsewhere. So when you're doing the dishes, I'm going to teach you some mindfulness techniques. When you're doing the dishes, watch what you're doing. Experience the bubbles. Watch the magnificence of the water and focus completely on what you're doing. When you're with your children, be with your children. Don't be multitasking and working on your business. Be with them. When you're with your dog, give your dog your full attention. They know when you're not. When you're with your cat, give your cat your full attention. So whatever it is that you're doing, be mindful, breathing, focusing on each thing. When you take a walk, don't take your phone, don't play music. Watch the wonders of the world that go by and be mindful in the moment instead of distracted with music that takes you away, because that's a distraction. Watching Netflix for 4 hours is a distraction. You're not in your body. You're just zoning out. You're not mindful. Now, I'm not saying that you can't enjoy a movie or you can't enjoy a TV show. You can do so, but watch when you're using it as a way to veg out, because that's not healthy. And so I'll talk to you a little bit about television. So I think it was 5 years ago I cut off my cable. I had Dish Network, and I cut it off 5 years ago. So I haven't had cable since. And when I moved, which was last August, I gave my TV away. Prior to that, it wasn't even being turned on. So focus and do the things that bring you joy, that bring you happiness, that bring you peace, and that will keep you connected and in the present. And if television is one of those things that allows you to zone out, you may want to just turn it off for a little while. Find something else that will give you more joy and you can be present. You know, whether it's a puzzle or writing in your journal. And then I'm going to give you a little takeaway. Whatever you do at the end of the day, right before you fall asleep, goes into your unconscious mind. And we are run by our beliefs that are totally unconscious. Our beliefs were programmed between birth and age 7 years old, when we are in a theta state. When we're in a theta state, we're basically under the state of hypnosis. We're being hypnotized by our parents. We are modeling exactly what they do and say. Horror of horrors for a lot of us, yes? So I also want to add that this is your brain. Your brain is in here, but your mind isn't. The mind is out there. Your mind is out here. The mind is connected with millions of other beings who are also thinking thoughts, and we are sucking in from the consciousness, the mass consciousness. And so that's, we're all connected. So no wonder, do you get it? No wonder so many people are depressed. We're all connected. So if 10 people are depressed, right? It's what happens. We're all connected. So this is why I am absolutely passionate about helping you heal anxiety and depression. And so you go to my website, JenniferElizabethMasters.com. You got a couple of choices there. You can book a session with me, a discovery session. Yes, it's free. I'll spend 30 minutes, maybe more, depending on my day with you, mapping out a plan of action. But I have been known to help people in one session, sometimes 3 months, but I've helped people transform their life, literally. I worked with a gentleman. I hadn't spoken to him since December of last year, and he told me that I completely eradicated the tape that played in his mind all his life. Now he's 49. The tape that played in his mind over and over and over, I eradicated. And so when we get those tapes eradicated, then we can live in joy, we can be happy, because usually those are the very things that tell us we're not good enough. You're not enough. You're not loved. You're not lovable. So when you get rid of those things, life becomes a whole lot better. They are not you. Those beliefs aren't you. You are a radiant being of light. You have a purpose on this planet, and you are already loved. There's nothing to prove. You are already loved. The divine loves you and accepts you. The universe loves you and accepts you. And I love you. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. If it was, share it with a friend. Leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. What would you like to see from me? What helped you about this video? What would you like to see next? That would help me greatly. And if you are challenged with something in particular that I didn't touch on, or even if I did, I want to know about that too. I love you. Thanks for watching.